Welcome, guys, to That Bible Guy and your daily devotional series on Isaiah. Today we're at Isaiah 62, and we're going to find out today what you need to hear, what we all need to hear. God will rejoice over us. God will rejoice over us. That's God's message to us today. We're going to find out about that in Isaiah 62. Now, before I get in there, as you know, this is probably going to be the last week of this. So I'll chat more about that in a moment. But what I'd like to say today, I was going to mention this a couple of times, and I'm going to mention it now because one of the greatest apologist speakers that I've ever heard, sometimes I think ever heard, has died today. Ravi Zacharias, incredible apologist, speaker, teacher. He runs Ravi Zacharias ministries all around the world. I was following and listening to him this year many times. I played his videos a few times at night, and my wife listened to them. One of my favorite videos he did was the talks he did was the hiddenness of God, and he got up and answered this question about why God seemed hidden. And I remember showing it to my wife, and my wife was struck by his ability to speak. He's incredibly educated man, incredibly logical, very articulate. He would remember information like it was astonishing the information he remembered. Maybe he would narrow everything down and have very clear points. But whilst he was incredibly logical, intellectual, very intelligent man, a great communicator, great speaker, great memory, loved God. The thing I remember about him, and this really helps me actually in terms of my own speaking, one of the things that really struck me about him was how compassionate he was. When he spoke, you knew he actually cared. He had this ability to communicate very clearly and consistently, very logically, but at the same time in a very caring manner. There's other teachers and apologists that I've liked, but they just didn't have that edge to them. That you just know he actually speaks from a place of concern, a place of love, a place of compassion. So I'm deeply moved today. I feel very saddened about his loss to the world. I'm a bit shocked in the sense that it was only a few months ago. I know he went in for back surgery in March. So I know that the start of the year I was following him, healthy and well as far as I could tell. So prayers for his family, Ravi Zacharias' his family, and just for the whole ministry they have around the world, and incredible talks and word and efforts that they do. So it's a sad day in a way, but we do pray for him and his family. So it's just my tribute to him, because I do honestly feel like if I had a list of speakers, apologists that I know, he's certainly right up there, right up there. And if you haven't listened to him and you are not familiar with him, then please go on and check out Ravi Zacharias on YouTube, on his ministries and his talks. I've several of his books as well, but you will not be disappointed. Incredible man. So yeah, that's just my tribute to him, and I appreciate hearing other people sharing so many great stories about him today as well. So with that, we'll just press on to Isaiah 62, Zion's new name. We'll read from verse 1. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent. For Jerusalem's sake, I will not remain quiet, till her vindication shines out like the dawn, her salvation like a blazing torch. The nations will see your vindication, and all kings your glory. You will be called by a new name, that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. You will be a crown of splendor in the Lord's hand, a royal diadem in the hand of your God. No longer will they call you deserted, or name your land desolate, but you will be called Hephzibah, and your land Beulah, for the Lord will take delight in you, and your land will be married. As a young man marries a young woman, so will your builder marry you. As a bridegroom rejoices over his bride, so will your God rejoice over you. We know already from chapters ago, when God talked about the people's sin, Isaiah 59, that their fortunes would change, Redeemer would come, and then we get God's plans and intentions for his people. Now it's like God is getting as personal as it gets and telling us, here's how I feel about my people that will be redeemed. I rejoice over you. You'll be a crown of splendor in the Lord's hand. You'll be called by a new name. And again, God, it says, will take delight in you and will rejoice over you. God will take delight in us and rejoice over us. This is something we surely have to meditate on. This is how God feels about his redeemed people. If you haven't been redeemed and you're not a Christian and you're watching this today, this is how God feels about you when we enter into the covenant relationship that he asked us to enter. When we put our old life behind us and we pick up the new life and we enter into a relationship with him and he leaves us in a redeemed state, says he takes delight in us. He rejoices over us. And if there's from Zephaniah, it talks about rejoice over us with singing. And sometimes I think about this and you think, but so many things can drag us down. So many thoughts can pull us down in a day. Our own natures, our own guilt, our own feelings about our own inadequacies. And you think they can shape how we feel. We end up letting them drag us down rather than what God speaks to us here today. What it makes me think of is recently, I've been talking about my children recently. I always talk about my children, my two younger daughters. Isabella's 5 and Sophie's 11. And particularly recently with being off school, my 11-year-old gets up every morning and tidies her whole room. She's put plants up yesterday and moved furniture around. She's doing a little bit of exercise each morning. She goes on to her laptop and does her schoolwork. She comes out, the school gave them plans to go and make plays about their favourite movie clips. And she did this play with her little sister the other week on Titanic and sent it in. And the school teacher, I haven't told anyone really this yet, the school teacher sent it round every other teacher basically. And all the teachers replied to her about how amazing it was. I keep wanting to praise my kids because every time I see them, I just think, wow. I mean, they do wrong, and at times it can make me feel impatient. But I have to be honest, I rejoice over my kids. I feel like I rejoice over them. Sometimes my younger one doesn't quite get the hang of things just the way my older girl does, and you see her not quite managing things as well. But I rejoice over her just the same. I take delight in her. And this is what I thought of when I pictured this morning, was God takes delight in you and me. He actually rejoices over us. That's his plan for us. He's not just neutrally removing our sins from us. He's not just removing the old part of us that he didn't like or that can't be in a relationship with him and leaving us in a neutral state. Okay, well, we've got nothing against you, so you can come into heaven here. Okay, well, you can come in and pray to me because, there's nothing against you anymore. It's not that. We've moved from negative, past neutral to entirely positive. I want to rejoice over you. I want to sing over you. I want to, again, rejoice and take delight was the other word I was looking for there. Take delight in you. I take delight in you. I know what that feels like with my children. I take delight in them. I rejoice over them. I keep watching my own words because I feel like people are going to hear me and think, is this guy worshipping his children? I mean, I try to watch out for that. I worship God alone, but my kids are amazing. I keep wanting to share about them because the things they do amaze me. I came in earlier on. Sorry, I'm going on again. You see what's happening? I could go on all day. I hope this always is like this, but I came in earlier on and my 5-year-old was in doing all the washing. She loves doing work. She wants a mop bucket for her 5th birthday. Haven't got it yet. We'll need to get that for her. Incredible. She got a Hoover for her Christmas past. She just wants to work. It's incredible. I mean, these are the little things you just think, I just rejoice over them. I take delight in them. You know where I'm getting at. This is what God would do with us. Can you imagine God today doing this? Talking about, I haven't got other people's names. So Simon, do you see what he's doing for me today? He's telling people about me. Now again, I'll not inflate my ego with this, but he's getting on the YouTube and he's telling people about me. A year ago, he couldn't stand doing videos. Now he's telling people about me on YouTube. Do you see what his son Simon doing? And again, replace my name with yours. He's rejoicing over you. He's taking delight in you. Why do I tell us this? It should offset our negative feelings about ourselves. I think when God sees us and he knows we're dealing with negative thoughts about ourselves, he would say, remember how I feel about you. Remember that I rejoice over you and I take delight in you. I initiated the steps that led to that type of relationship. And that's how I feel about you. That's how special you are to me. So I pray that we can think about this today. We can meditate on that phrase, delight takes delight, but God rejoices over us. So I pray we can help to get rid of the negative thoughts that so often come into our mind so that we're free in order to serve God and live a life of joy based on how God feels about us. I just want to also say as well, my plans are, again, this is Isaiah 62, a few chapters left. I know Saturday we're going to finish. What I'd love to do on Sunday is this, and I'd love any of you to be involved in this. I want to just do a highlights of all the things I've got out of this series. Personally, I'll maybe share my top 3 highlights of this series, and I'd love to just mention your highlights. So if you could just drop me a comment anytime between now and Friday about your highlight of this Isaiah series. Maybe it's something I've mentioned a bit. Maybe I didn't go into it enough. Maybe you loved it, but it was sparked into something else. Maybe you started reading the book or something because of what I mentioned. Whatever the case may be, just drop me your highlights on a comment. If you're happy enough with me mentioning just your first name, I can do that on here. So I appreciate you doing that. Just tell me the highlights and we can share them just with everyone. Just like a kind of a let's look back at the highlights moment, because I don't know about you, but I like to take stock and reflect. And again, as you know, from Monday onwards, then I'm going to start my series on 7 evidences for God in an acronym that you will not forget: faith. I'm doing 5 fingers, it's actually 7, but the word faith, the H has 3 evidences attached to it. Key evidences for God that we can use with our skeptics, friends and atheists and people that we come into contact with. Again, I'm going to put the evidences on here. I'm going to do an additional section if you signed up on my Patreon account to give minimal funding to support the ministry. I'm also going to do an additional section of, well, what about the objections to that evidence, and what about the practicals of how do I use that evidence to help people in conversation, because that's really what matters ultimately. So going to be back with that. So tomorrow I'm going to be back with Isaiah 63, God's Day of Vengeance and Redemption. So it's not all lovey-dovey tomorrow. It might be a little bit of a balance of things tomorrow. So thanks so much for tuning in today. Appreciate you being with me. Let's get God's word out there. Back again tomorrow.